Hello friends, I welcome you all to this short video presentation where I am going to quickly take you through some important aspects of my web application that I have built in R. So as you can see in front of you, there are three tabs: Home, Dashboard and Insights, and for every tab there are multiple sections given in the main panel. In the About section, we can see some information about the Cyclistic company has been given here. So as you can see, Cyclistic is a company which offers bike sharing services all across Chicago. And the customers of Cyclistic, they are primarily classified into two groups. The people who purchase single ride or full day passes, they are called as casual riders. And the people who purchase annual memberships, they are Cyclistic members. Our main task will be to identify the difference between the casual riders and annual members. Okay, so here is a snippet of raw data. So as you can see, multiple columns have been provided here, which are providing various information regarding the type of the rider, whether it is member and casual, and they're starting and the ending stations with respect to their coordinates, and they're starting and the ending timings as well. Okay, and this is the structure of the data. All right, so now we proceed to the periodic analysis section, wherein we can see a few controls have been provided at the top, based on which a graph gets generated below. So here in the monthly analysis, if I select the analysis as monthly, we can select from any of 12 months. If I select my analysis as seasonal, then we can select from any of the 4 given seasons. And if I keep my analysis as yearly, then my data set will correspond to a collection of the data of 12 months. Okay. Also, we can explore a few options in the x-axis as well as in the y-axis, and accordingly the graph will get modified. So here in the graph, if you can see that whenever I hover over the graph, the data label, they get generated. Yeah. So if I click on any of the bar, a pie chart is generated. This pie chart showcases the distribution of rides between the two riders. Okay. Now, right now my y-axis denotes the number of rides. Now if I click on the partitioning of the graph, you see the graph gets modified immediately. And now again, if I click on any of the bar, now a pie donut chart is displayed. Okay, so previously pie chart was displayed, and now due to partition, the donut chart further classifies the distribution of rides with respect to bike type for every rider. Alright. Now if I'm interested in knowing how the graphs were generated based on what data, so here you can see the data table gets displayed here, which can be seen just beneath the graph. Also, if I want to point out the maximum values, so here the maximum values, they get highlighted, whereas the remaining bars, they get dimmed in the background. Okay, it's just exactly like spotlighting some important information. Accordingly, the graph also gets modified. Similarly, if I want to visualize the trend, so you can see here, just with a single click, I can see the trend line as well. So these were all the important features, and another important feature is if I change my y-axis. So the graph gets modified. Now the y-axis denotes the average ride duration, and this is in minutes. Okay. So here also the data labels can be seen. And similarly, if I click on any of the data labels, say on Monday, so you can see a heat map gets generated when the y-axis is average ride duration. Okay. So on the y-axis of the heat map, we can see there's a rider bike combination, and on the x-axis, it spans the time of the day. right from the 0th hour to the 23rd hour. Okay, and now if I change my x-axis, let's say if I choose the start time in hours, so you see at the peak hour, which is at the 17th hour, if I want to get more information about the peak hour, so this is the distribution of rides as per the number of rides option in the y-axis. If I go for average ride duration, you see the graph gets changed. Now again, if I click for the 17th hour, say, suppose. So now the heat map gets generated, and this is a different heat map from the previous one. In the previous one, we had the time of the day on the x-axis, whereas in this heat map, we are having top 20 stations corresponding to this particular time, that is at the 17th hour, at which station we can see like at which station on this particular hour there was the larger ride duration covered, okay, by the riders. So that is the meaning of this heat map. So accordingly, we can get to know which stations are more important and which stations are those which are not often visited by the riders. So accordingly, we can we can shape our advertisements like for depending on that particular region. So now these are the choropleth maps for this particular combination of casual and classic bike users. This is the heat map which is displayed here. Now if I switch to show data table, now you can see a data table gets visible here. If I arrange these densities, these are the percentage densities for every station, okay, of riders. Then these two are the stations which are having the highest density of riders for the casual classic. Similarly, if I can choose for any of the rider bike combination as well. So accordingly, the heat map gets modified here, and the main difference can be seen in the data table. See here, the highest density of riders is in the Kingsbury and the Kinsey station, University F 57th ST. That's for the member classic. So this was my analysis, and the findings of my analysis are summarized in the form of a table, which you can go through this table. Only the important findings from the graphs I have kept here, so you can easily see the difference between them. For instance, in the route, if I say, so the top stations which are visited by the casual riders, I have listed them here, whereas the top stations visited by the member riders have listed them here. So this is a visualization I've got from the graph when the x-axis was route and the y-axis was number of rides. So from this finding, I can conclude that casual riders, they love to visit places where those stations which are located near major central parks, or the places which are famous for their waterfront and beaches. Okay, and member riders comprise of those people who are university and school going students. Okay, and also from the weekday graph, it was seen that the casual riders, they have the highest on weekends, whereas the members, they are found to be the highest number of rides on weekdays. So similarly, such findings have been summarized here. Okay, and on the basis of these findings, 3 recommendations have been listed here. So this was my analysis. I hope you liked it. Okay, thank you.